You have not been taught that the three people who died first in the name of Jesus the Christ were three African women. Felicita, Nymphano, and Perpetua. Yet you know everything. You're born again. You know it all. You can't be blamed for it.
This is a different system of slavery that is different than existed throughout history. This is specifically targeted with a racial doctrine that is denigrating black people in attempting to reclassify black people as subhuman in a massive misinformation campaign against sub-Saharan black Africans. And so we can look at this and see the millions of black people taken into slavery. Under this auspices, we see the Europeans enter into this, and we see what has happened and unfolded globally. And we see the global economic system that is now in place that has subjugated and marginalized black people, and now black people are subject to institutional racism all around the globe. And so in order for us to continue to move forward and see what's happening in terms of the progress that is available, the opportunities that are available for Africans, not only on the African continent, but the African diaspora, for us to connect with each other, to connect with Africa, to build together, and to gain an understanding of what happened to us so that it will never, ever, ever happen again.
The Igbo is the only tribe that practically believes in one Nigeria. We develop any land where we step our feet. We met swamps in Amuwodofin and Lekki. We legally purchased them and sandfilled them into paradise with our own sweat. Igbo traders took neglected districts and turned them into global commercial hubs. Alaba alone generates $2 billion annually.
We pay the formal taxes, but we also pay the shadow tax. The Agbero economy extracts 123 billion naira every year.
Land use charge, wharf landing fees, consumption tax. We funded the very system that was secretly sharpening its knife. They are the engine of Lagos. The informal sector contributes 40% of the state's revenue. That engine is fueled by Igbo capital. We built massive estates and plazas, unaware that a hidden agenda was waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Igbo nurses in Texas, doctors in London, they poured their hard-earned dollars into Lagos, believing it was the safest vault for their wealth.
2015 was the signal. The rhetoric changed from development partners to strangers who must be contained.
It started in Oshodi. They came at night. 500 traders displaced. Billions in goods destroyed. No compensation. Abule Egba. The excuse is always urban renewal, but the target is always the same. Alabarago. They called it a security threat. We called it economic cleansing. Thousands of shops gone. They dared to touch the heart. Alaba International, 17 plazas marked, distressed and crushed. Valentine's Day 2025. Trading plazas leveled overnight. No warning, just rubble and heartbreak. October 12th, Festac. While we prayed, bulldozers struck. Shops destroyed during worship. A cruel ambush. Even the biggest were not spared. Landmark Beach. $200 million. Razed to the ground. 2025, Lekki Phase 1. Bulldozers tore down 80% Igbo-owned homes. Our diaspora dreams shattered. In the morning. This was not just demolition. It was a statement. A warning sent across oceans.
Win homes built with diaspora capital began to fall one morning. No notice, no warning, just machines tearing into foundations. This was not just a demolition. It was a message to every Igbo abroad. Your investment can be swept away in hours.
December 2025. 20 mansions marked for demolition. Families left homeless. The message, you don't belong.
Look at the map. The bulldozers don't roam Lagos. They hunt one people, one economy zone with chilling precision. We paid the families. We bought the land legally. But when it gained value, they rewrote the rules, brought their bulldozer to think back. Drainage, right of way, master plan. The excuses shift daily, but the outcome never changes. Igbo destruction. From swamp to city you built. And this is your reward. Erasure, seizure, and a humiliation carved into the land. Injustice isn't always loud. Sometimes it whispers in the silence of broken shops. Breathing. It is not just destruction. It is the injustice, the selective enforcement. Through untouched buildings beside shattered dreams, a clear message, your progress is a threat. We thought we were building Nigeria. We were building a house on another man's land. Hey. The message is clear. You do not belong here. The hidden agenda is no longer hidden. It is to cripple our commerce, seize our real estate, and lord over our legacy. It's time to turn off the tap. No more billions into the swamp. No more estates for the bulldozers. Why continue to water a garden that produces only thorns? Why build where your children cannot inherit? The era of naive investment is over. The era of strategic retreat has begun. We have the capital, we have the skills, we have the people. What we needed was a lesson, and we have learned it. Imagine if those billions wasted in Lagos were poured into our own soil. We are not just leaving, we are launching. A new economic engine is about to roar to life. That is not a dream. That is the plan. Get ready for part 4, the blueprint. It's time to bring the wealth home. Akuro Ulo.
The engine was stolen. But this story has only just begun.
Presented by Maverick Research System, where research skills, faith, and modern technology meet. Don't just watch. Share this video. Let the truth flow like these rivers.
Honor and respect, honor and respect, honor and respect. Divine all blessed greetings and salutations. It is another edition of Revolutionary Hoodoo, New Orleans Voodoo Secrets and Recipes. Voodoo Hoodoo 101, powered, produced, promoted, sponsored, and supported by NOIVD, New Orleans International Voodoo Day. Through an international partnership, New Orleans International Voodoo Day becomes a major annual event in New Orleans, bringing peace, relief, and healing, and connecting New Orleans with Benin, Haiti, the major points of the transatlantic slave trade, and hubs of voodoo around the world, as well as all nations where African traditional religions are practiced, and in a healing circuit and drawing visitors from around the world. New Orleans International Voodoo Day is dedicated to honoring the rich cultural heritage and spiritual traditions of Voodoo, a vibrant and ancient African diasporic tradition. Our goals include to educate and raise awareness about the history, principles, and practices of Voodoo, provide a platform for Voodoo practitioners, artists, and community members to share their knowledge, skills, and experience, to foster greater understanding, respect, and inclusivity among diverse spiritual traditions and communities, to celebrate the contributions and resilience of African diasporic cultures in New Orleans and beyond, and to promote cultural exchange, collaboration, and social justice through Voodoo-centered programming and initiatives. By embracing the spirits, traditions, and community of Voodoo, we aim to create a more just, equitable, and enchanting world. And we continue to invite you to participate, volunteer, join us, sponsor, donate by visiting us at www.voodooday.org. Again, www.vodouday.org for more information and coming updates about this powerful and continued growing event. And we're certainly thankful and appreciative of your continued support and participation here in the live chat. Thank you so much in our Facebook listeners, our Instagram listeners, YouTube, Twitter X, Instagram, and all the platforms where our link may be accessed. You may also join us by utilizing the QR code at the top right corner of your screen. We certainly do appreciate your participation. And thank you for showing up and participating and listening with us live in the chat. S. Marie 5444, greetings to you and yours. Our beloved community member, Daniel Neal, 3465. We certainly do appreciate you. The Goddess 9305. Thank you so much for your continued support and blessings. And I will be unmuting our beloved co-host, the Queen Mother Sister Bianca Johnson Plessy, a initiated member of La Source and a faithful, committed team member of NOIVD. Our beloved Elder Reggie Green Soap, the leader and founder of Shrine of the White Cloth, also a committed committee member and co-administrator of NOIVD, and our beloved Sister Toni Martinez, community activist, community mother. And we certainly do appreciate your continued support and attention to this indeed growing and powerful platform. Tonight, we want to speak on a topic that Queen Mother Bianca introduced. We want to speak on the care, the handling, and the dispersal of ritual offerings and sacrifices, the disposal of ritual offerings and sacrifices, not as mere instruction, but as a living philosophy, a way of honoring the divine, the spirits, and the ancestors who walk with us. Last night we discussed retributive magic in African traditional religious systems and its use of spiritual power to restore balance, punish wrongdoing, and enforce justice. And we invite you again, and Elder Reggie will invite you later on in the podcast to join us on Friday. I believe it's Friday. Yes, Friday, December 19th, for our monthly new moon ritual ceremony, where we will be utilizing some retributive magic techniques, but also where the question that Sister Bianca introduced, where we might discuss the care and the handling of the offerings that we utilize in the ritual and ceremonies that we partake in. So tonight we want to discuss the sacred journey of offerings, my beloved brothers and sisters. Children of the ancestors, hear me. We gather in the circle of time where the drumbeat of Africa still echoes in our bones, where the river speaks in many tongues, where offerings, humble or grand, carry our prayers across the veil. Tonight we speak on the care, the handling, the disposal of ritual offerings and sacrifices, not as mere instruction, but as a living philosophy, a way of honoring the divine, the spirits, and the ancestors who walk with us. In the lands of Benin, Nigeria, Ghana, and beyond, offerings are not casual gestures. They are contracts, covenants, bridges between the human and the divine. With care and preparation, food must always be fresh, unspoiled, chosen with intention. Animals, when offered, must be treated with dignity, never abused and never wasted. Libations, water, palm wine, gin must be poured with steady hands, for the earth itself drinks. The priest, the Bokonon, the Babalao, the Hogan, the Mambos, the priests and priestess, they know offerings are touched with prayer, hands are washed, words are spoken, songs are sung, and nothing is placed carelessly. Every gesture is choreography, every movement a sacred dance. In the disposal and return to nature of our organic offerings. For offerings are not garbage, they are gifts. Food may be left at crossroads, rivers, sacred trees, shrines. Animal remains are buried, returned to the soil, or placed where spirits dwell. The principle is clear. What is given to the spirits must never be desecrated. Throughout the diaspora and the branches spread wide, when the children of Africa were scattered through slavery, through exile, through migration, the offerings traveled as well. In Haiti, Cuba, Brazil, Trinidad, and the Carolinas, the same principles lived, though adapted to new locations and lands. With care in preparation, rice, beans, rum, tobacco, sweets, these become the language of offerings. Flowers, candles, coins, symbols of devotion in lands where African foods were scarce. In handling in ceremony, songs in Creole, prayers in Portuguese, chants in Spanish, all carried the same rhythm. The altar became a table of survival, a place where the enslaved could speak to their gods. In Haiti, offerings are left at the foot of the maple tree. In Cuba, they are placed at the ceiba. In Brazil, they're carried to the sea, to Yemaya, to Simbi, mother of the waters. Always the principles remain. Offerings must be respected, never discarded like refuge. And here in the Crescent City, where the Mississippi bends like a serpent, offerings take on a new life. Again, with care and preparation, candles, chicken, cornmeal, whiskey, coffee, beignets. Yes, even the foods of this city became sacred. The care is in the intention to honor the spirits, the Loa, the Orisha, the ancestors who walk Basin Street and Congo Square. In voodoo rites, offerings are placed on altars dressed with cloth, beignets drawn in cornmeal, songs rising with the drum. In hoodoo practice, offerings may be laid at crossroads, graveyards, or doorsteps, each with its own meaning. In New Orleans, offerings may be left at the river, at the bayou, at the cemetery gates. Some are burned, the smoke carrying prayers upwards. Some are buried, the earth sealing the covenant, always the rule is respect. Offerings are not trash, they are sacred exchanges. There is a philosophy of disposal. Why do we care so deeply about disposal? Because offerings are not only physical, they are spiritual contracts. To throw them away carelessly is to break faith with the spirits. To honor them in disposal is to complete the circle of ritual. The offerings begin with intentions, lives in ceremony, and ends in respectful return. With continuity and responsibility, we, the keepers of tradition, must teach offerings are not superstition, they are communication. Sacrifices are not cruelty, they are covenant. Disposal is not abandonment, it is fulfillment. In West Africa, in Haiti, in Cuba, in Brazil, in New Orleans, the principle is one: respect. So let the offerings be cared for with clean hands and pure hearts. Let them be handled with reverence, song, and prayer. Let them be disposed of with dignity, returned to earth, water, fire, or air. For in this cycle, we honor the ancestors. In this cycle, we honor the spirits. In this cycle, we honor ourselves. And may the offerings we give be the offerings we live: gifts of respect, gifts of love, gifts of continuity. And as I ask my beloved co-host to please come on into the conversation and unmute your mic, I have shared, I believe, in previous podcasts that we couldn't feed the saints, the altars, the shrines, the deities, the Orisha within our sacred spaces. But I also have a sacred space in my yard for the ancestors and for the disposal of sacred organic materials. You know, when your fruits and vegetables begin to turn bad or putrefy, as opposed to harden. I've had fruit hardened, dehydrate completely for months. No odor, no bacteria. They look almost as fresh as 2 or 3 days after I bought them. I may hold on to those. I may grate them and use them in other processes, gree, spiritual baths, etc. But those things that begin to turn and ceremoniously, typically within 4 days, you certainly want to check your altars, check your shrines, replace and clean water vessels, pour out libations that may otherwise have developed some sort of impurities. Again, I've had coffee that has, gone bad, in 2 or 3 days, with fungus growing on it. But I've also had coffee that has completely crystallized like a chunk of rock candy. Okay. So thank you so much for that question and that subject matter, beloved Sister Bianca. And please do come on in, Queen Mother, Sister Toni Val Martinez, unmute your mic. Elder Reggie, please do come on in. And our beloved Bianca Johnson Plessy. Greetings and salutations to each and every one of you. How you doing?
Good
Hello,
evening, everyone.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
So
Well,
yes, I have a question, and it's just some things that that I see, and then I kind of think about, just kind of curious, and maybe you guys could kind of better help explain to not just me but also to the audience out there. Um, So when you do have some people who do like workings as far as like different rituals or working dealing with candles or herbs or stuff, if it's like getting rid of negative energy or bad or just anything pertaining of negative. Um from my understanding, I thought that when you are done with those things that you're supposed to remove it out your house and like take it far away from your house or your property and dispose of it somewhere else, versus when you do see some people, when they're done with it, they just throw it in the trash can, like the trash can in their house, like their house trash can. And to me, I would feel as you're not really getting rid of anything. Is it almost like you still holding all that inside your house because it's sitting in your trash can in your house when it need to be removed away from your property?
Oh yeah, I agree with that. Even when
Me
we
too.
do spiritual baths, we toss that often at the crossroads, but nonetheless out into the street. Greetings, Elder Reggie.
Yes, good evening, Divine Prince, Sister Bianca, Sister Toni,
Sister
and the
Toni.
collective audience. Yes, I've seen Joshua, but he must have left. But anyway, especially if I'm doing work in a cleansing for a person, I myself try to bury that work because energy do transfer. So let's say if I get the energy off a person, and let's say I put it on, I'm gonna just for the sake of conversation, I put it on, let's say a tomato, right? I use the tomato as the clearing offers. And so I want to bury that tomato because that tomato is just an energy holder. Another person can touch it. If it's on the trash, even the trash man can touch it and that energy can transfer. So when I'm doing that type of work, I try to either burn it or bury it. If I'm doing candles or anything of that nature, I'm definitely gonna burn that.
hmm And I've often tossed things into the river too. But depending, as I've already said, it really depends on what it is and what it was used for.
Yes. Yes,
And
What about you,
unfortunately, I'm
Sister
looking.
Toni?
I really don't do a lot of offerings other than flowers. And I'll burn candles, but once the candle is burned out, I know to take it out the house and put the glass in the outside garbage can. With my flowers, when they wither, I put them back in my flower bed, basically. Because like I don't do workings, I just do like offerings to my ancestors. So I'm not trying to get anything negative with anything that I do, like cleansings or nothing like that. I'm not on that level. But my candle glasses, I do dispose of in my trash, and my withered flowers, I put them back out in the flower bed. So like they kind of like become mulch or compost or whatever and go back to the earth.
Yeah, now I would like, if I could, in due respect to everybody that's listening, I do animal sacrifice. So if I'm doing an animal sacrifice, which is called heavy lifting, getting work off of someone, where I live at, I have a small little area, and I'll usually leave the carcass there because I have the buzzards, the birds, and also I have coyotes and a few other wild animals that comes and eat the carcass of something that I use. So I don't bury it, I don't burn it, I leave it out in the opening. Yeah, I want to add that because that is part of the ATR work for some people.
Aren't
I know they
some
also said something about with chickens, like in Hades and Africa, other different cultures, like when they use chickens or different animals and stuff for animal sacrifice, they kind of, after they're done, I think they what do they like use it to feed the village or something, like cook it and still feed the village after they use it, or how
Sister
that
Bianca,
go?
it depends. If you doing initiation work or you doing
Mm-hmm.
community work, then the offerings are shared with the community. But if you're taking negativity off of someone, you don't want the community people eating that because once again, of transference of energy.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna ask too, because I too had heard, but it depends on what type of ritual is being done, because you don't want to feed the populace anything that's containing negative energy. I had heard that they also burn the carcass. of the animal. When it's like a negative energy, they burn it down completely.
But even as you suggested, with the candles, if I'm using a candle to reverse something, remove something, destroy something, I'm going to break up the remaining glass that might be left over. And as Elder Reggie said, bury it, put it in the river, dispose of it. But if I'm feeding, let's say, a Loa or a Risha, and particularly when the candles burn clean to the bottom, I will often recycle those glasses and use them in other ritual applications.
So
Yeah,
what is the thing when they say like banks and stuff, like when they have some people who doing different workings and stuff for like money, like money, prosperity, uh anything dealing with finance. And when it comes to disposing that, would that be like something where they would take the candles or whatever leftover stuff to like a bank or something, or near a bank, or through the dirt of the bank, or like where what how you go about that? Like I know I heard something like that also. It depends on what type of workings you're doing. Like you would take some to a bank, or you'll take some to like a hospital if you're trying to remove sickness or healing in some, or some to a church, or just like different locations, or the woods by the tree, just things like that, or courthouse and stuff like that.
Well, I'll step in on that. I just never heard of those type workings, and maybe I don't know what tradition that would be. But let's say I use the word abundance, which can include money, finances, and things of that nature. Any workings I'm gonna be doing for you around abundance, when I'm done, I'm gonna bring it to a river, because the river is ebb and flow, it's moving. And you want that work to be moving. As the water moves, that's how you want your energy to move through the spirit realm to bring forth the manifestation. But as for me bringing it to a bank or something of that, I just never heard of that before.
Yeah, I've heard of acquiring perhaps dirt from a bank, or a rock from a particular church or location, but to actually go and leave the work there, no, I typically only see that if someone's doing something negative.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that also. Like I said, y'all way above me on this, because I only, use stuff to as a gift, not to do anything with it and disposing. But in the past, when I have had candles do that awful bad sooty black, I immediately get rid of those, and I don't put them in my garbage can. When they go like that, I find somebody else garbage can on the street to go put it in. And I don't even wait for it to burn out completely. It could be halfway, but with that deep soot, you got to go. And then that's when I start with the spiritual cleansing inside my house. When I see that telltale sign.
So you putting it in somebody else's trash can. So basically you saying you over there trying to pass off the bad luck to some stranger in their trash can?
I guess they not going digging in it.
But
They're
you heard
not
what
going
Elder
digging in
Reggie,
it.
but you heard what Elder Reggie said, and I sort of spoke on it last night. All energy is eternal. We've designated and delineated light, dark, good or bad, left or right, but all energy was created at the Big Bang, and so all energy is eternal. It can only be recycled, recreated, and so that act of burying items that Elder Reggie was talking about, grounding items, and allowing it to be sort of cleansed and regenerated through gravity and all the other force fields and energy, that passes through the earth, sends that energy somewhere else. I often also use black obsidian for a very similar purpose. Polish, usually spherical, like crystal ball shape, Black obsidian balls because they often exhibit a bullseye-like pattern in them. And I attribute it to the black hole, if you will, and I will send that energy into that space so that it can be sent to the other side of the cosmos, the galaxy, the universe, to be regenerated and utilized beneficially somewhere else. But yeah, you passing along that energy now.
Mm-hmm. Because what we have to keep in mind when we are doing offerings, it's an exchange between a spirit getting the work done that you're doing for the client, or you're doing for yourself or a family member. There's a process. There's a 3-step process. That's you, the client, and the spirit. And so when you're making the offering, you're telling the spirit, I'm making this offering on behalf of personality A. And if personality A is going to receive something, this is what I'm giving you as an offering. Mm-hmm. And so there's an exchange of ebb and flow that's going there. And so remember, now you're offering it to the spirit. So the spirit has it. Now, when the client is gone, it's between you and the spirit. You have to handle that offering with care, dignity, with pride, because there's a spirit that may still be eating or enjoying the drink. As Divine Prince said earlier, the spirit might take an apple and crystallize it or make it hard, because that's just the essence of what the spirit wants from that particular fruit or vegetable. But remember, after that exchange with the offering, please handle it with care, because you're in an agreement with the spirit to bring forth the results for your client.
Mm-hmm. Very, very interesting topic on that level. And it's interesting all the different ways you could handle a situation depending on what that particular situation is. And Divine Prince, when you say it get hard, it's like the spirit petrify it, and it still holds that form like it's fresh. It's just petrified.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that and wondered, how can that be? How can it be?
Yes, and this is a little test case for some people if they just want to do it as an exercise. You could take gin or rum in a shot glass, and also in the second shot glass put water. Leave both of them on the table or altar, and in the morning, one of them going to be reduced down than the other, and it's normally going to be the spirit, the alcohol, because spirit's going to come and partake in that more than they're going to partake in the water. That's if you just want to test the theory. But yeah, because the spirits are real. Like I said, Sister Toni, you and I, if we do an exchange, you have an excellent book, and I've been reading it. Let's say if I wanted to purchase that book from you, I make a purchase. Now I have the book, but once I give you the exchange for the book, it is you have liberty to do with the money whatever you wish to do with it.
Yeah.
And that's the way we have to see offerings when we're offering to a spirit or God or a deity on behalf of doing something for us. And you really have to look at it that way.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
certainly those items that crystallize and dehydrate on my ancestral shrine, I certainly hold on to them and find other ways to utilize and incorporate those items.
Yes, that's very interesting. But we've come to the end of the time for tonight's show, and I would like to turn it over to the Divine Prince to thank our listeners on our other platforms. And then, of course, Elder Reggie will do the announcements and give us some words of wisdom. Divine Prince, take it away.
We're certainly appreciative of those who listen and participate from all the various Facebook pages, profiles, groups that we can be accessed in Facebook. Thanks so much for our YouTube listening and participating audience. To my LinkedIn audience, I would love to call out you all's names, but many of the names I can't even pronounce. We have a large international listening audience through LinkedIn. Thank you so much to Twitter X, and to those of you who are showing up in Instagram. We certainly appreciate you as well. Jorge Rodriguez or George Rodriguez, we certainly appreciate you. I am free. We certainly appreciate you for coming by. Walk in Faith joined us. Mr. Salvador Carter joined us. Cardell Tank Patterson. Greetings and salutations, beloved, to you and yours. Love my New Orleans. Cut joined. Big Fun Shui joined. Thank you so much, Anthony Bernard 736. Chala Shango Oya joined. Blue Kalu, we certainly appreciate you. Olga Fran, thank you for coming through. And Build with Gravel, we certainly appreciate you, and we invite you to join us again tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time on a platform near you, or by utilizing the QR code at the top right corner of your screen. All is a blessing. AYIBOBO.
Mm-hmm. Yes. We like to read the advertisement for the upcoming events.
Yeah, give me a second.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right. The next new moon ritual prayer and application ceremony will occur on the next new moon, Friday, December the 19th at 6:30 p.m. in the zodiac of Sagittarius. That location is 710 Cluid. It's known as the Cluid Garden. And we're doing it in honor of a ritual spiritual warfare, as we spoke of last night, retribution, magic. So please come out tomorrow night if you could. We'll be there. And then Saturday, the 20th of December at 6:30 p.m., we have the Puerto Flaming Bads, magic stuff. And it's at 3319 Rosalie Alley in New Orleans, Louisiana, in the Bywater area. And then Wednesday, the 24th of December, we have the bonfire on the levee in Lutcher, Louisiana, and that is called the River Parish area. Thank you. Lest we forget, the spiritual medicine of voodoo brings healing and relief from the shackles of slavery that binds the master and the slave to the same chain of social division. With that, I say we continue to have work to do. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Good night, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow, and we love you all.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. Odabo.
Please, allow me to show you something.
They say I'm crazy and that might be true. I got this right in my DNA, yet I'm coming for you. It's time we turn the tables, flip these motherfuckers on you. I wanna see you hanging from trees. It's time you pay for your dirt and your showtime. You created the monster, you created the beast. Now all this savagery you just gon' reap. I'm coming home, daddy, to the plantation, and I'm taking the lives of everybody, including the children, on some Nat Turner. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. I met my girl Harriet at the gate. If you wanna know how she doing, yeah, she's straight. But she had one question: when we gon' get up? All that talking tough, yeah, we don't walk it tough. She got it locked and loaded, got that piece up on her side. She looked me in my eyes and said, "Meet you ready to ride?" Moving forward, you gotta use both eyes. Watch your front and watch your back. Keep your hands up on your gas. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. He sit at the table, but he don't order no bacon. He greet me in those words, assalamu alaikum. Got them glasses on his face and them waves in his head. He go by the name of Detroit Red. He looks me in my eye and says, "You only get one try. Know that your biggest opposition will come from the inside. I know you wanna love them all, but don't even try, because they'll smile up in your face while plotting your demise." Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. We are the children of the ancestors that weren't part